What can I possibly say about all the goings on at Manchester United since the start of July? A whole 5 days ago, that hasn't been said already. The one thing I do know is that last week, when I did my previous video, none of this was even a random thought that crossed my mind. But now we find ourselves wondering what else the club can surprise us with. Since the takeover, the constant criticism from both fans and media alike was the apparent lack of activity, with nothing meaningful seeming to happen. Having spent a not inconsiderable amount of money to buy what amounts to be just under a third of the club, Ineos seem to have adopted a serene approach to their stated goal of returning the club to its former height. There was the initial flurry of announcements, with the poaching of Omar Barada from City and the repeatedly rebuffed approaches for Dan Ashworth to return to work for all staff, and the protracted end-of-season review made news, but that was pretty much it. The media went with as many rumours as it could muster, but that, in fairness, is par for the course for United, regardless of the owners. But the biggest change that people could see clearly was the lack of leaks from within the club. While most fans would consider this a massive step in the right direction in itself, and certainly when it relates to issues within the squad, when it's related to the actual running of the club and the obvious improvements that needed to be made ASAP, fans' patience didn't and doesn't have the same length. The drip feed of small tidbits was only going to pacify people for so long, and by the end of June, and the management situation having been resolved to some extent at least, frustration was starting to rise. As seems to be the custom now, David Ornstein from The Athletic was the hero all United fans needed, with the surprise news that United and Newcastle had reached an agreement for Dan Ashworth. This was something no one was expecting, given Newcastle's reluctance to act like adults for 4 months. We then announced Eric Ten Hag agreed a deal until 2026. We had employed a new, albeit on a short-term basis at least, director of recruitment. We told 250 people they were being made redundant, released a new kit costing up to 120 quid, had a new kit sponsor, actually seemed to behave like one of the biggest clubs in the world by going after players we wanted in a sensible way, and started making changes to Old Trafford. It's the summer, and after what could diplomatically be called a difficult season last year, it's clear that the squad is in desperate need of an upgrade or two. Some players have already gone, many will be going, and for a change, the players we seem to be actively pursuing actually make a lot of sense positionally, whether you agree on the actual player in question or not. The disagreements over the season review, keeping a manager, the return to work, the redundancies, the cosmetic changes to Old Trafford, the significant changes on the football board, the seemingly competent approach to transfers, and the decisions on who can stay and who can go may upset some people for numerous reasons, but the one thing that can't be denied is that a lot of what is being done now is the sort of thing that we've been crying out for over 10 years. In that time, we've been hampered by owners with no regard for how we actually perform in our core business. For so long, we've been a rudderless ship drifting in a sea of incompetence with no captain at the helm. All around us, clubs with even the bare minimum of common sense got their house in order, moved with the times, strengthened, and reaped the benefits. Some of the same people who have spent the last 10 years complaining about how the club was being run into the ground are now complaining about how change is being brought about. United needed and still needs significant change, and if you expected this to be a painless process, then you weren't really paying attention. As unpalatable for a lot of people this may be, United are now starting to be run as a massive business they are, rather than a chop shop selling off the most valuable parts to fund the lifestyle of others. Businesses aren't run considering the feelings of the people who work for it or use its products. Their guiding principle is to clarify a vision of where they are now and where they want to take it in the future. That approach is going to hurt at times, but can it actually hurt any more than what we've been witnessing since 2005? We've been waiting 19 years for this, and things are moving. It's about downtime.